Hello, everybody. This is Pastor Willie, and this is the encouraging word for today. There is a deadly mistake that is very easy to make. I've made it many, many times. And if we make this mistake, we will never, never be victorious in the spiritual battles, in the Christian life. And we get insight about this mistake from the life of Saul. I'm sorry for Saul, but he's a bad example every time I do these devotionals. But it's better to learn from someone else's bad example than to have to learn from being a bad example yourself. And unfortunately, Saul has a lot to teach us. But I don't want to have a lot to teach people from my bad examples. I have some things to teach people from my bad examples, but I don't want to have a lot of them like Saul. But he made a deadly mistake in the spiritual battle. Listen to 1 Samuel 18:28 through 29 and see if you can catch the mistake. When Saul realized that the Lord was with David, and that his daughter Michal loved David, Saul became still more afraid of him, and he remained his enemy the rest of his days. Saul remained David's enemy the rest of his days. Wow, what a mistake. And here's the mistake. David misidentified his real enemy. David didn't identify who the real enemy was. He became the enemy of David. He thought David was his enemy. He saw David as the enemy, as the problem, as someone who had to be removed or destroyed. How do you respond to people? Do you see that person you have conflict with as the enemy? As the person that has to be removed? As the person you have to be victorious over? He misunderstood who his real enemy was. The real enemy is the spiritual powers and demonic authorities, the evil spirits. Remember, God allowed an evil spirit to torment him. That was the enemy. He had to fight that inner battle with the enemy where he had opened the door for the enemy to come in his life. Instead, he ignored that enemy and focused out on the obstacle. The result was he was defeated, and Satan was victorious over Saul. When you or I are in a battle, whether it's an argument, a disagreement, in opposition to something you want to do, who do you see as your enemy? Your spouse? That fellow church member who you don't see eye to eye with? That person with that difficult personality that just rubs you wrong all the time. You got to get rid of them out of your life. Our battle is not against flesh and blood, but against the rulers, against the authorities, against the powers of this dark world, and against the spiritual forces of evil in the heavenly realms. That's Ephesians 6:12. And the key to victory, whether it's in your marriage, with your children, in a church, in a work, whatever it is, the key to victory is correctly identifying the real enemy. So today, stop and ask, how does this apply in your life? Where is there conflict in your life now? Where is there lack of peace with somebody in your life now? Are you misidentifying the real enemy? Identify the enemy. Pray for that situation. Fight the spiritual battle first, and then you will be able to resolve the flesh and blood problem. You may need to have boundaries. You may need to sit down and have a discussion, whatever it is. But win the spiritual battle first. So that's the lesson for today. A lesson for me that I often mistake. Tomorrow is Friday, and we're going to have our devotional right here, and the title is Stop the Spread of Sin Before It Kills You. God bless you, and see you tomorrow.